Diana. This is Pastor Randy Moore. Randy, where are you from?
I'm from McKinney, Texas.
And how long have you been a church planter?
I've been going for 7 years.
Awesome. And you really care about creating a healthy church culture from the start. Is that right?
Absolutely. I think if you don't have a healthy church, it's not going to sustain itself very long, because once it becomes unhealthy, it's really hard to recover.
So what are some of those signs that, man, we're drifting towards unhealth fast, and what do we do about it?
I think a sign of unhealth is when people are fearful of their leadership, feel like they can't speak up and say anything. If a leader tries to give direction and they demand the authority, it's a power play of I have this position and so therefore you have to listen to me. I think that's really unhealthy. I think when people don't want to be there, that's a sign of unhealth, and we want to avoid that at all costs.
So how do you start healthy? What are some really two practical things you guys did as a local church to say we want to start with a healthy culture and build on that?
I think that the number one thing that we did was we said we want to have an energetic environment that's going to stay positive, fun, and really include the people in the process. We want them to be engaged in the church, not just, hey, here's what I want you to go do, now go deploy and go do what I say. More so, hey, I want your buy-in, so how do we get your buy-in? And that's really what we're going to focus on in this session.
That's awesome. So did you look for particular volunteer leaders that had that personality type? Is that what we look for if we want to be about that?
No, I think it starts from the leaders, and I think your leaderships are going to attract the people that are drawn to that type of response. So whenever you're coming in with a smile, when you're positive, you really are ministering. We're still ministering, we're the church. And so what's really happening is they're having a horrible time. They're having a bad week. They've gone through a lot of life. Maybe they haven't had anybody that smiled at them all week. And when you bring that energy and you bring that excitement feel of, wow, something's different here, there's a joy that can be found. And then we get to share Jesus with them. And that's whenever God really begins to work on their heart and they find their passion and how they fit in. And that's what makes it so special.
So what would you say to ministry leaders and pastors who are watching this with us? How do they walk into their ministry this week and start to evaluate where health is at?
Well, I think the first thing they do is it starts with them, and they have to be healthy. And if they're not healthy, it's really hard to go into a space and change it all. I think that focusing in on the spiritual aspect of really prayer and letting God lead the way into what He wants to do in your ministry has to be at the forefront. And then just really getting feedback from your people. Asking those tough questions. Do you enjoy what we do? Do you feel like you can communicate and respond back to what's happening? Or do you feel like if you say something, maybe the shepherd's gonna beat you with the rod type situation? And finding maybe 2 or 3 close people that you go, I trust their opinion, I respect what they say, and really asking them for that honest feedback. I think that's the most tangible way to know next Sunday what to do.
So how do you, as a pastor, as a ministry leader, how do you kind of do the work to hear somebody's feedback and not get offended or be frustrated? What are some of the things you tell yourself, and how do you set yourself up to receive feedback?
That is such a great question, and it's very difficult at the beginning because you don't know what you're doing. But I think you start off by saying, hey, I want to find those people that I know have a great head on their shoulders. They love God, they love the church, and they love me. Those are the 3 things, and it can't work without one of them. All right, so if you just love God, but you don't really like the church, and you say you love me, it's not gonna work. Or you don't love me, but you love God and the church, it won't work. So you have to have somebody that does all 3 and go start right there with those people. And they will give you that honest feedback that you're looking for. And if you really have your walls up really high, which most hurt pastors do, it really takes some time to go, okay, I have to process what kind of feedback I'm receiving. Is this coming from a place that this person, they love me and they love God and they love the church, I can receive it. But if they're missing one of those, then maybe I would filter a little bit and go, hey, I don't know about that. And then I would take feedback from the person that's maybe giving me something that I go, I'm not sure on, and I would go ask the person that does all 3 of those and say, what do you think about this? And that would really help.
Got it. So you're saying people who love God, love the church, and love you kind of hold on to those truths as you
Absolutely.
listen to their feedback. You prioritize hearing from them. And if you get feedback from somebody who's missing, they don't necessarily love you or God or the church, you still may take their feedback, but take it and process it with somebody who does.
Absolutely. And if they agree with it, then I go, okay, they've endorsed that thought as well. And I really need to pay attention to that because it's truth at that point.
Would you say that's a key ingredient that's helped keep a healthy culture in your local church?
100%.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Is there anything else that ministry leaders and pastors need to know about creating a healthy culture or keeping a healthy culture?
Yes, I think having frequent opportunities where we celebrate those that are killing it. There are volunteers, we call them dream teamers, that are just out there working hard to serve the local church. I think having a place and culture of honor is so important. We'll talk about that in the session, of just being able to honor those and make it about them. Make it about what they're doing that's making the biggest difference. It's not about it's not my church. It's not our staff's church. It's the church. And whenever we can honor one another, celebrate one another, and really have fun. We do a lot of food. We do a lot of partying. It's a good, fun atmosphere that people want to be a part of, and then they want to invite their friends to. If you're not having fun with the people that you're working with on your team as a staff team, then you might have the wrong players on your team. Because part of having a good culture is looking forward to going to work because you like the people that you're around. And so I know that there's some controversy around, well, if you get people that are just like you, or, or just yes people, or whatever the case may be, and there's some pushback there, don't hire those people. I say, man, hire people that want to go where you're trying to go, that share that same vision, and have a heart for God in that way. And if you do that, then you'll never work a day in your life because you show up every day and you go, this is fun.
That's awesome. What if you got to say one thing to your team about what you love about your healthy culture, what would you say?
I love that we have a place that anybody feels welcome to be a part of. Doesn't matter who you are, how much money you make, your race, who you voted for, none of that matters. It all goes out the window because Jesus is central, people are happy, and that joy can only be found in Jesus. So when we make it about Jesus and lift his name high, the Bible says he draws all people into himself. And that's our goal, and I'm so proud of what we've built.
That's awesome. Last question. If you had to tell all of our S2 listeners what is one thing they can start today to create a healthier culture, what do they start with?
Start with prayer. You start with prayer. You go to God and you say, God, I want to turn the ship around. I want this to be a place that's fun and inviting, and just seek his wisdom in that, because the Bible tells us that God is not hiding from us. He's not trying to not give us the answer. He wants your church to be healthy. You want your church to be healthy. And I think if anybody can move the mountain, it's him. So you start with prayer and you ask for wisdom on that first step to do, and God gives you more and more.
That is so good. You've given us such golden nuggets of how to have the right posture, how to seek God, how to take feedback from people who love us, love God, love the church. So thanks for being with us. We just invite you, if this is helpful, share it with a friend, tag somebody, and let's create healthy church cultures together.